I just take on.
Good morning.
Before we start
You doing everything with the
Post
yeah,
analysis.
I see.
That was fun.
I got it. Studio, I'm like, oh.
It was
I
fun.
Yeah.
I took a picture. Showed it.
That they saw.
Yeah, we're cool.
Good morning.
Morning.
Let's call to order the Cuyahoga County Convention Facility Development Corporation Board meeting for the date of Friday, April 26, 2024. The time be reflected to be 8:35 a.m. Julie, can you please call the roll?
Sure. Debbie Berry,
Here.
Jeff Epstein.
Here.
David Gilbert. Majid McClue,
Here.
Trevor McAleer,
Here.
Michael Obi. Tim Oftermatt,
Here.
Rashonda Smith,
Here.
Mayor Sellers.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. We have a quorum. Before you have the minutes for the meeting from January, we have two sets of meeting minutes to approve. We have a meeting from the date of January 26, 2024. I have any questions or comments about those meeting minutes?
Move to approve.
All right, so I ask for a motion to approve.
So moved.
So moved by Majid McClue. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Debbie Berry. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, those minutes are approved. Also, let us ask for approval for the special meeting minutes from the special meeting from March 14th, 2024. Questions, comments, concerns? Yes, ma'am.
Correction, spelling of honey.
That's correct. Rashonda's name here in the meeting minutes, so noted. Any
Move to
other?
approve as corrected. Move to approve as corrected.
All right, move up. Majid has made the motion to approve as corrected,
Second.
seconded by Tim Offermat. Please signify by saying all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Those meeting minutes are approved as well. We'll now move to the portion of the agenda to allow for public comments from the public. Okay, is it 3-minute time limit on that?
Yeah.
It's a 3-minute time limit on that. Do we have anybody ready for comments?
No.
We do not, all right. That portion is closed. Let's go to the next portion of the agenda that talk about board appointments. I'm gonna turn that over to. Oh, is it mine? Is it mine? All right, so we have 2 board appointments. here.
Three.
Where's we are? There. We have 3 board appointments. Nominations from the county executive and county council president. The 2 joint appointments and 1 from the county council president. For seat 5. And since we have all these, we're gonna take them all. We got seat 5, which is Majid McClue. Seat 6, Shonda Smith. And seat 9, Jeff Epstein. Majid McClue and Shonda Smith are joint appointments by recommendation from the county executive and the county council president. The seat 9, Jeff Epstein, is a recommendation and nomination from the county council president. Any questions?
The only issue is that we want to vote on them individually because if we recuse the 3 of us together, we may not have.
All right. Correct. Thank you. All right, so we'll take the. thank you, Ms. G.
You can't get it out.
Yeah, he can't leave it. That's his law
Let's
director
start with
coming out.
seat 5, G McClue.
Recuse myself for that.
He's recused from his vote. All in favor? So the nominated, all in favor of G McClue?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. That is done. Seat 6, Rashonda Smith. All in favor?
Aye.
Saying aye. Thank you. Opposed? Perfect. And the last, seat 9, Jeff Epstein. All,
refuse.
he's recused, Jeff is recused. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Perfect. All those votes were taken and they're unanimous choices. Thank you. And thank you guys for continuing to serve here. Now we will go to the portion of the agenda to allow for George Hill to give us our executive director report.
We have a couple things on the report that we want to talk about, or at least bring to the board's attention. We had one of the columns down in our loading dock, we had a couple years ago where it was one of the original loading dock columns was built when we built the register in the thirties. It had a break in the cement that fell to the loading dock. You know, it was pretty devastating, but no one was hurt. That was all the good news, and we repaired it. We just recently had we think it's cosmetic. We called in the engineers to take a look at it. They suggest it might be cosmetic. And to be extra cautious about this, we are going to have an engineering study done to make sure that it purely is cosmetic. There was a big chunk that fell before, and it's kind of scary to think if that happened again. Now, the column sits right underneath the road, and when people driving the road, sometimes it vibrates, and so that's our concern. So we don't know where that is right now, but we're having someone look into it immediately, and engineers will need it immediately. Just want to let the board know about that.
George, when do you anticipate the study being done?
I think it's gotta be, Alice, it's about a week.
The engineers are coming in on, I think today, they're gonna be able to get back with a report by next week.
And this is Osborne that's looking at it? Okay.
And they were the original. Yeah, so. Just to be cautious, that's what we want to do. It was scary last time. No one was there, and no one got hurt, so. We've got the Avant area. I think we talked about a little bit, is we have Levy worked on a study for us as to what we could use to put in there. One of our concerns, Avant was very good, but they're very labor intensive. And that gets kind of expensive and it's slow. Get stuff, sandwiches made, you know, on order. So Levy went back and took a hard look at everything, and we're gonna be doing a bagel place there. And maybe Jude, can you maybe comment a little bit on the bagel place?
Sure. Thanks so much, George. Morning, everybody.
Good morning.
So, as George said, a bagel concept, right? Why would we do a bagel concept? Well, if we're downtown here, we're kind of in a food hole zone, right? There's no good place for an affordable fast lunch. There's very few places where our exhibitors can leave the building and get a lunch. We want to keep them in here, keep them on the show floor. So we've decided to come up with this concept, and it's bagel bowl. And it would be, like George said, the labor lift of Avant Pond. You would need 7 people, you get an overnight baker, you actually royalty fees. We're gonna take it on ourselves with Levy. And think about the Shake Shack concept where you have self-ordering kiosk and you can order online, meet Starbucks with a handoff lane, calling off your order. Nice bagel sandwiches, something that actually can be an asset to the community as well as our exhibitors are in-house. You can have a booth, you can order a dozen bagels. You can walk over from the Justice Center, grab a sandwich for an affordable price. The space is already a lovely space. We can basically, in my business, looking into things, seeing vision, we can reskin it. It's not gonna take us that much of a budget to make the need to be, we own a lot of the equipment. So it's really quick turn to make this into something that's gonna be special. We're all very excited.
And we're talking about the key, how Key Tower, we can send bagels over to meetings and things like that.
Absolutely. You can order online, come pick it up, you know, as we continue to grow and branch out, there's so many different ways that it can work for us, work for our activities.
That we have East Coast bagels.
Yes, so that's a good question, because it's gotta be great, right? You know, it can't just be an okay sandwich. So, we're actually able to source through Levy a product that is a frozen New York bagel dough. And with the renovation to the atrium kitchen that we're going, technology of our Rational combi ovens, those can be proofed and baked. So they're a nice, delicious bagel that comes from New York water. As they say, the best bagels are made in New York City. And it's soft enough to eat as a sandwich. Like I've eaten pretty much every bagel in the surrounding area, trying to find one that was really like hit for a sandwich, but a lot of them are too hot. You want something that's gonna have a little bit of softness to the outside, but it's gonna work in a sandwich environment. And we're gonna load them up. We're gonna have schmear options, and you know, it's gonna be a thick, like pretty heavy amount of schmear on the bagel with different varieties to make it fun and creative. People to come in and experience different things.
Well, how many employees do you expect for the operation?
You know, truly, I would think behind the counter itself, maybe 2 to 3, and there's no cashier. It's all self-ordering kiosk. And then somebody maintaining the dining space. And then an area that will also have a mass gen self-checkout kiosk for people that just move on and have a little grab and go area for beverages, salads, wraps, because the space is large. Once you're inside the old Almont Pound space and you see how nice it is in there, how big it is, we can cut it up so that a portion of it will actually be where people can come in, grab and go. Because we have some exhibitors, where people are just coming, they just want to grab something quickly and go. You know, gone are kind of the days of people sitting around dining in a full restaurant. It's a faster, more commuter world. So that's what we're shooting for. Low labor lift, high quality bagel is something that can service the community at competitive time.
And when do we plan to open it by?
We want to get it soft open in July so that we can get it full steam ahead for ASA.
Very good.
Will you have outdoor signage on St. Clair so people, again, know that it's in there and can come from,
Yes,
Street,
absolutely.
okay.
It's part of the signage.
so it'll be
package.
that entire space?
Yes. Think of the outdoor package, signage package for Starbucks.
Mhm.
Very similar to that, but
Gotcha.
very clear is what is in there.
Yeah.
Right now, you really can't tell, right? So, but you'll see, you know, a bagel on the window, the blade signs that are out there will match and some low graphics, so you can really see the pop of what's inside that.
And the name of it is gonna be Bagel Boulevard.
Bagel Boulevard, yes, Bagel Boulevard is the name, and we're excited about that because we can go a lot of. There's so much rich history in Cleveland that we can incorporate into the Bagel Boulevard concept, and it just kind of flows.
And did you say, what are the hours that it'll be open?
So we're gonna emulate the Starbucks hours currently.
Okay,
So Starbucks, we had shifted our Starbucks hours of operation from 6:30 to 3:30, and then from 7 to noon on the weekends.
Mhm.
Now, once the atrium space reopens and we have more traffic coming over and everything,
Yeah,
that could,
we
we
can go a
could
little bit
extend those
more.
out. You know, if there's business to be had,
Yeah.
we're certainly gonna open it up and adapt to capture it.
Got it.
But currently, we really want to go after that strong lunch business.
Mhm.
Starbucks is more breakfast oriented with the breakfast sandwich and coffee, not as heavy here with lunch. Bagel Boulevard, we feel that much. Yeah.
Great.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
You're so welcome. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Third item we have on the agenda for, is we start our audit on Monday. And we have the initial meetings.
10 o'clock.
10 o'clock, the auditors are coming over here. We're gonna go over the outline for the audit. Any board members welcome to attend that meeting.
George, is there a virtual option?
Sorry.
Is there a virtual option for that?
I could make that.
Because I can join at 10
Okay,
if
we can
it's
roll
by
it.
Zoom or
That's
something.
fine. Okay, good,
Okay.
yeah. So we'll go over what we're gonna do and that type of things to kick off with the audit, so. We always try to do, they seem to take a long time to do their audit, but we try to push it to get done faster. But anyways, okay, so there'll be then at the end of the audit, the conclusion, the board will also be invited to that. Go over any kind of comments they have, or, the management letter and all that, so. they'll be to that. Okay, we'll go right into the virtual. Next item is the ASM incentive fee.
can I go back for 1 second to the column issue? Can you just, or Ellis, let us know what the result of
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
engineering study
Yep.
is? I mean, if there's an issue, we certainly want to
Yeah,
know
yeah,
about
right,
it.
right,
And
right.
like to just know if there is no issue as
Yeah,
well.
and again, they're thinking it's mostly just cosmetic, but we don't know.
But we'd like that confirmed, yeah,
Yeah,
just
I'd
so
like
we
to-
understand if there's gonna be something big.
And they're gonna do a thorough.
Mhm, I'm sure.
Okay, last thing I have is the ASM incentive fee. I think everybody got a copy of that, study. Ron, do you want to, touch base on that?
Sure, thanks, George. Every year ASM well, let me start over. According to our management agreement with the CCCFDC, we have two components of payment. One is you can go ahead and forward, Julie. Thank you. Gosh, I wish I could see that better. One is our base fee, which for 2023 was $245,000. And then by contract, we're allowed to earn an incentive fee not to exceed that base fee of $245,000. So we have done the calculation on that and have presented it to George and a couple of other board members. So I'd like to go through that with you. It's broken down into two components: the quantitative component, which includes occupancy, economic impact, and net revenue attainment, and the qualitative component, which is customer service scores, asset management report, business plan attainment. I'll go over that a little bit in more detail. On the quantitative portion, 60% of the fee, so that comes out to $147,000 of the cap that we would be maxed out at. So when you go through this, on the exhibit hall occupancy, our benchmark was 60, well, let me also say, this is the last year, 2023 is the last year that we're operating under the old agreement. So we now have a new management agreement that kicked in 2024. Things are a little bit different in that new management agreement. Basically, up to about 90% and over is a sliding scale. On the old agreement, it was either we make it or we don't. And that was it. So this is the last year of that agreement. Benchmark for occupancy and exhibit halls was 60%. We got 40.83%, so we got 0. Exhibit hall events, benchmark was 50 events. We did 51, so that gave us 20,580, 40% of the 147. Global center occupancy, we're under construction. Benchmark was 90%. Glad we had construction. We didn't make any of it. So again, 0. So our total on occupancy was $20,580. Economic impact, 35% of the 147. So that is based off of room nights generated. The benchmark was 64,066. Our attainment was 83,238. So that gave us the $51,450. Net revenue attainment, 30% is available. The benchmark was 5,676,000. We missed it by that much, 5,413,012. So we got 0 on that. So on the quantitative amount, we're eligible for $72,030. Now, and I'll go into some of the detail behind all of this. Qualitative customer service score, we did really well with our customer service scores, and we'll show that here in a moment. We got a 4.75 out of 5. Business plan, asset management report, a 5 out of 5. Business plan attainment, 5 out of 5. So that gave us a total score of 98%. So the 98% of the qualitative brings us to $96,040. So we add the $96,040 and the $72,030. That gives our total incentive fee calculation for 2023 at $168,070. And again, that would have been capped at $245. The question came up of how did that compare to 2022? I think we have a slide on that as well. Yep. Okay, so yeah, there it is. So 2022, we actually did a little better. We came in at $203,510. The reason why was the net revenue attainment. You look at our benchmark was 4,762,000. We blew that out of the water, thankfully, 7,313,000. We had some in the year, for the year bookings. The one that comes to mind that was huge for us was the Best Western booking. That was, how much was that in food and beverage, Travis, roughly? Or Steve? Yeah. So just on that one piece of business. So we did really well for our in the year, for the year bookings. Because in the past, we've done so well in the year, for the year, as we do our budgeting and we do our forecasting, we look at, well, if you did in the year, for the year so well these previous years, you're going to keep on doing it. And quite frankly, in 2023, we didn't do as well in the year, for the year. So that's why that net revenue attainment was off a bit. Any questions on any of that? I mentioned the backup, so if you could move forward.
Sources.
So that is part of our, who scores which part?
Well, I don't know. Is there multiple people that are scoring it, I guess?
No.
I mean, who
So-
determines?
So,
The qualitative part. I mean,
Yeah.
the quantitative part is
The
easy,
numbers, right,
but
yeah,
the
yeah.
qualitative part, it's a good question of who's scoring.
yeah, so that would be the CCCFDC scores it. So, and we'll get into that.
Well, the customer service portion is the actual
Customers,
results of the survey that they
Yep.
do. Are you gonna get into that?
yes.
So, okay. That's how, it's some good background to understand where that
Yep.
is.
Yeah.
So on the quantitative, I'm sorry, this comes right out of our booking system. So you can see, and this is the backup that I was saying I was going to share. Contracted events, you can see through the exhibit hall. Now in 2023, we were only measured on exhibit hall occupancy and global center occupancy. 2024 and forward, we also have meeting occupancy that is counted in there, okay? So you can see that's where the numbers come from. And on the exhibit hall occupancy percentage for 2023, and we listed out all by exhibit hall specific, total room nights, specific by type of event. So that's how we get those numbers.
Hey, Ron,
Mhm.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
They're
but,
fine.
I know I should know this or remember it from prior conversations. How did the construction factor into adjusting the metrics that you needed to meet for,
It didn't,
it didn't?
no,
Okay,
They just got zeros on that.
right. Right, it didn't. So moving forward, any questions on this part of it?
While we're there, it's more of a generic question, you don't have to answer it directly, but just be aware of it as we go through. An explanation of the exhibit hall occupancy, the benchmark is 60, you're at 40 some percent, and the year before it was at 35%. Now, I understand that the revenue number is higher, and the
Mhm.
number that I care about is the heads and beds is higher.
Correct.
But how do we? What's your expectation at least, you know, is there an explanation why we're not at 60 and how do we, what is the thought going forward?
Great question. So this, on the old agreement, those numbers were decided from a consultant. And some would say the 60%, if we were at 60% occupancy of our exhibit hall, we'd be coming to this board asking for an exhibit hall expansion. 70% is considered fully booked. 40.83, that tells you we still have, which is why we're not doing an exhibit hall expansion. We still have some room to grow in the exhibit hall. The new agreement, if I recall correctly, takes a 4-year running average and moves that number out. Does that help at all?
Yeah, I'm less concerned about it for purposes of the incentive fee, more in terms of what are we doing for the,
Right,
you know,
right,
the event. I mean, I care very much about the revenue, but I always sort of keep the big pictures. We know convention centers are loss leaders, but we make our money on the hotels, we make our money on the
On the
people eating
taxes.
outside. So to me, I care a lot more about the number of events, the number of people that we're bringing in, the heads and beds,
Right.
and the net number that, so that's sort of like just sort of
So-
the forecast going forward, how we're doing on that.
And good question. One thing that's different about us here in Cleveland than most other convention centers, which those consultant numbers come from other convention centers, we don't do very many consumer shows, which then would drive your exhibit hall percentages way up. If we were doing auto show, boat show, home shows, that exhibit hall percentage would go way up. Back to what you were saying, your heads and beds number would come down because now you don't have the availability for that. So it's really kind of a balancing act between the two. Certainly exhibit hall percentage, that's what we're graded on. One of the, moving forward, that's one of the things that we're graded on. So we're going to look at how to maximize those exhibit halls moving forward.
So Ron, what's the benchmark for 2024 review? So it's 60%. What's this year's?
You would have to ask that, wouldn't you, Trevor? I don't
Because
recall.
You said it's based on now a
Yeah,
5-year.
I believe it's, and I'm looking for Steve. I believe it's 5-year rolling moving forward.
Let me go back and study it all.
We can get that information to you.
Do you know if it's based on 5 years of actual percentages? So will it be, is it like significantly lower? Will it be at the 41% area?
I
If it's,
believe it is, Trevor, on actualized. But then as we do more, it should grow
okay,
in that area.
okay.
But I can get that information for you.
Because then, to Majid's point, right, we'd like to get that number,
Sure.
and I know you would too, I mean,
Sure.
so, but in terms of the benchmark, if we're only using the 5-year average of what we've done, then that benchmark becomes much lower, and then,
Right,
oh, it's great, we hit the benchmark and you
Right.
get the incentive fee,
Right.
but are we getting the more heads and
Right,
beds? So,
right,
okay.
right.
Rashawn?
So based on kind of forecasting for this year, where are we with the run rate for 2024?
I'm sorry, where are we with the,
run rate as far as the exhibits or, for the forecast? Because, I mean,
so far, we are barely ahead. Okay, from forecast. We have, in 2024, we have a big reach number that we still have to work towards. Now, remember, and I know you all know this, we're not in this in a vacuum. Most of our events book 3 to 5 years out that are going to use exhibit halls. So that's where partnering with Destination Cleveland comes into play, because again, we could book short-term business in those exhibit halls and get that number up, but it wouldn't do what we wanted to do for heads and beds.
thank you.
Question about room nights, and this may come from not understanding exactly how it works. Is the room night number actual room nights paid for with a head and a bed? Is it how much was kind of contracted and agreed to when they signed the agreement, but it might be more or less than that? What
Right,
the actual
right.
number we're looking at?
It is what the client professes it to be.
Okay, so we got.
We don't-
More or less than. what
Yeah,
it-
correct. We don't have a way to audit the room nights. So that's what they say it's going to be.
And it's not just a number pulled out of the blue.
No,
It's,
great point. It's actually, so we can go back and look at other cities, and they typically, when we're responding to an RFP, they will give us their history of room nights from other cities as well. So we have a really good idea.
But is that the same issue in other cities where they don't have a way to audit? How many room nights?
they're typical, well, back from my old convention center days, they're typically not audited, but the rooms are actually reserved well in advance.
Yeah.
Why the Hilton was done the way it was, because and we've got Larry coming up later in the meeting, but he can explain this way better than me. But the room blocks in the hotels have to be reserved well in advance. Oftentimes, rooms are paid for, and sometimes there's not a head and a bed, but the room is still paid for, which benefits, doesn't benefit with restaurants and shopping and whatnot, but it does give you the hotel business.
So just another question on that. I've found that people going to conferences now are staying in Airbnbs and other things. Are we happy that that's considered a head and a bed? Because their numbers, right, from the conference would say X number of people came in from out of town. I know we can't do anything about it because obviously it's individual choice, but how does that impact the hotels, which is what I assume we're really ultimately trying to.
Yeah, great conversation. And that is a conversation. So there's a few things that happen. People will come in and stay around the block. In other words, not block the room. They're here with the conference, but they don't block the room.
Right.
People will stay in I'm not going to use any company's name, but they'll stay in a house for
Sure.
short-term rent.
Yeah.
Okay. Those houses for short-term rent don't always pay the appropriate taxes. So it does affect.
Yeah.
Now, to what degree, that's a bigger conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's why, just speaking for me, whenever I go to a conference, I book in the block and I stay in the hotel.
So Ron, it's not paying the appropriate tax. Now it comes down to the municipality, whether you track
It's difficult.
the entity who is doing the Airbnb. So like some cities won't do Airbnb, right? Cause you cheating them out of 3% hotel tax, right? So you're gonna never know what that is, right? So, matter of fact, you got some hotels there you got to chase down, but they won't pay the tax, right? So it is some of this stuff is outside the scope of
Yeah.
this group is gonna rely on municipality to drill down here, but the game is to, cause I'm thinking about these, the volleyball tournaments, stuff like that, AU tournaments, big family come in, they're not gonna stay in a hotel.
Right.
They're gonna try to find a house around that house,
Sure.
right? And so you're coming upon the municipality having tight rules about Airbnb, but you'll never know because somebody leases it out, you'll never know, they'll put it back on some page.
Right.
You'll never know what it was. But the game here is that we continue to try to drive business here and opportunity. I would just tell you that city and county had to make a mint off their final four. It's time was jumping
Good weekend.
from all angles. Those are the kind of things we should be chasing.
And I will say to the mayor's point, the volleyball tournaments, dance, that type of thing. When the calculation is done on economic impact, and that's not our calculation, that's a calculation by, I know we have Larry on the line, but it's a third-party group that does those calculations. Those types of groups do not rate as well on a tax platform as do, say, the medical groups, like we just had Sages in. They don't rate as well on those because they're not spending the money out in the community. They may be staying in a short-term rental somewhere, and not paying the applicable taxes. So those groups actually are downrated. They help our exhibit hall occupancy because they take up a lot of exhibit hall space, but they don't necessarily get back to what Majid was saying, to the economic impact that we're here for. Anything else? All right. Keep going. All right, the event organizer survey responses, overall experience, this is, what did we say we gave ourselves here? Not that we gave ourselves, but based off of this information. We had a 96, overall quality 90, overall condition 95, meeting needs 95, event contact 86. So that tells us we have some room to work in that event contact portion. Net promoter score 74. The one that where we have a lot of work to do is working with partners, and that was a 62. So that you see that is in a yellow. So that is working with our audiovisual, food and beverage, IT, event services. The comments that we get back on that is usually about price. Everyone thinks everything should be for free. They think the price of hot dogs is too much. Now, I will tell you, and we can start reporting this in the future on a quarterly basis. Our event organizer survey responses for this last quarter were way up. I believe that working with partners was up in the 80s now. Most of the people that replied to these surveys were the dance groups and the cheer groups. They don't like the price in the concession stands. Now, that being said, we worked very hard to get those prices down and to offer things like pizza and other things that are more appealing. These are the types of groups that sometimes also we have to chase them out because they're bringing their coolers in. You know.
You're never gonna handle that group.
Yeah, so that's where a lot of, that's,
It's too high.
I'm not minimizing it. We know we have work to do. We have done some things though to help that with, especially with our citywide groups. For example, we started this last year. We started doing it used to be you'd get an invoice from Levy, you'd get an invoice from the AV group, you'd get an invoice from all these other groups. We now have consolidated that to one invoice to help with our customers and understanding that. We also are trying to get as much as we can. It's not always possible, especially when you're talking with the food and beverage part, because that gets so specific, to get one estimate out to the customer as well, just to kind of streamline that. So I think that's where we're seeing that those scores are coming up this next year. If you'll move along, Julie. Business plan attainment is another one. I'm not going to spend a lot of time. We went through the business plan that we present to this group every year. And in every business plan, we have objectives. So we went through, and this was sent yesterday in your packets. This was the objective, and this is what we achieved. So you can just zip right through that. I'm not going to spend a lot of time. I know the mayor has things to do and places to go, as do you all. But that is in your packet. So you can see how we achieved that. Okay. And there's several of them. So you can keep moving. So we did really well with that. And that's it for my presentation on incentive fee.
I was just telling George, like, so you just keep doing what you're doing because the responses out here down here have been great for as far as and we're not even fully open here.
Right.
But I would tell you, like, you know, you can, some of the stuff you're not gonna please everybody. I'll give you a case for like the sporting event. There's people that put on events without the hall for a sporting event. On the basketball, they'll charge it's $50 a day per person. You come in, so if you got a family of 4, that's $200 a day. So you can give the food away for your next still doesn't matter, right? But it's not you,
Right.
not us,
Right.
right? It is, right, the fee. So I think it's the events, and I hope that, I know Dave's not here. I hope that when we do these events that, I think of the Women's Final Four, good head coach of South Carolina, Don Staley, and Caitlin Clark making great comments about the city of Cleveland. I hope we're taking that and using that as our advertising, as we're looking for business. So,
Those are good times.
yeah, you have to use it, right? You have to use it. So, but I think people around here see what's going on. So, any questions for Ron? All right, so the, Ron presented the incentive fee, package that amount is due. Are any questions about that? We're gonna need a motion to approve that.
The one thing is I just wanted to confirm the staff's recommendation is to approve it, correct?
Yes, we went over. it. Okay, great detail.
With that, move to approve.
Second.
It's been moved in second. Julie, do a roll call.
Debbie Berry,
Yes.
Jeff Epstein.
Yes.
Najee McClue,
Yes.
Trevor McAleer,
Yes.
Michael Obi,
Yes.
yes.
All right, so we will go to the next, round. What's the update on construction?
Well, we'll get to construction a little later. But for the first quarter, we hosted 29 events. You can kind of see the numbers there. I don't have to read it all to you. So far, we're at about $143,000 favorable to the budget. Again, that we have a big reach, so don't be too surprised if that number starts to vary a little bit, but I think that as we get our new facility online, we're going to be able to make that. You can see now we started talking about our attendance forecast, room nights, and economic impact with all of our events. There's a list of the events. Go down. Yeah, there it is. Okay, perfect. So this is our total responses for quarter 1 of that event organizer survey. So you can see we got working with partners up to 88%. So we're trending in a great direction right now. Sales team booked 36 events. You can kind of see how that breaks down for the future. And then our top events, executed advanced placement reading. That's the event that is going to be here for 4 years and would not have booked if not for the new atrium space. National Technical Conference, PMTS, that's a great event for us. One Water Annual Conference, another good one. All of those are great events. Fine.
What was the one line it said? Everything was in catering, the 113,000 rent. What's the, what are? Okay.
So these are the events that have booked so far with the new space. I say with the new space that would not have otherwise booked if not for the new space. National Association of Credit Management, International Municipal Signal Association, Code Council, the State Dam Safety Officials, I love saying that one, National Hardwood and Lumber Association, Ohio Library Council. And AP Reading that I just mentioned, which is that 4-year deal, that's just huge for us. And 81,000 room nights in that. And then I believe, Travis, we had our first wedding booked.
Ron, how can we say that they only book because of the renovation? Is it because they're taking all the space? They
Yes.
only book because we had the more space? What a justification?
They're taking all the space. They would not have been able to fit if we did not have that.
That include when we say all the space, is that just the renovation part or the convention, the whole entire convention?
And you'll hear more in a moment, but it is getting very exciting. Next slide. Question. Tap dance while you're up there.
I'm good, thank you.
We're gonna talk about that in the slides. Right now, we're back in sunset. We're still. But I'll explain a little bit more about the first budget.
Charged. Whereas that can seem to be messages asking. You know. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but how convenient.
Always seems like the day after,
Yeah.
that's when the battery
Right.
decides to just
I'm like, how convenient.
can't short day.
They're like, we'll give you $415 towards a new phone. So how much is the new phone?
Seriously.
That's ridiculous. I've been with them so long. They were air touch cellular.
Yeah.
Rich be giving me phones for
Where's Mike?
Look at my phone. A, it's ridiculous, B, it's all broken. But when I went to GCP, I switched
She
to
never
their
does.
service. Yeah. And now that I'm back in my personal service, they're telling me that I started a whole new. And so I don't.
So we made it and then
Even
even
the
some
same
pick up.
Exactly. It doesn't even hold the charge. For like 6 years.
That's right.
That's right.
It-
Oh, my God.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's not fair.
Gotta get it going. My daughter, she's
What's that?
in college, so I have to.
We've done a couple, but I think we're gonna do,
Yeah, right.
I think we'll do a lot more.
Yeah, amazing already.
I know. I know.
Somebody just told me. Today's the last day.
Yes, today is her
All right.
last final. Yeah, they have to be out of the.
Hey, paper.
Alice, you ready?
Yeah. Go back to the previous slide. I'm gonna let Ed, and Jerry. Okay. Schedule. I would do it with. Starts closed.
Need to use your outdoor equipment.
Next slide, please. This is the graph of schedule, this Cheryl gave for meetings, Ball, issue before the show, we have tracking, have to go buttoned up, also gonna have starting up our air handling. Step forward and kitchen. So we also have the window replacement. Storm those are planning to come in. Also, side of the building. All the other activities are pretty much tied right for the. Some general activities. Yeah, so since the last time that we all met, wall, slab on grade, slab on metal deck, all the additions now erected. Monumental stairs are up. Actually, if you go out there, we had 5 guys working on these things on 5 different lifts. Framing's going on. Wrap up monumental stairs. Like Ed said, the air handling set, scheduling startup. Finished carpet ceilings on the 3rd floor, so if you go on a tour, we've got 3, pretty close to the one where we're getting ready to punch this. Really, it's those exterior windows on C line and kind of button things up. We also finished installing the animal wall that I think Ron loved. Really up that second floor, you're starting to really see the glass and the function space up there. And then upcoming activities, a little bit of everything, obviously, but carpet ceilings on the 2nd floor, so that's really close to getting to the point the 3rd floor is at. Installing brick wall all over the station. All of a sudden, glass delivery today. So continue to install glass. We're installing the outdoor wall track in the ballroom. Actually, it's track. MEP in the ballroom, it's a heavy mechanical electric. The way the process works is you gotta get a lot of hangers up in that ceiling in that ballroom. Then we can spray a K13, which is a sound insulation, and ductwork, a lot of other stuff. It's in it all black. After all that, we start getting leaf lights, the actual ceiling. You'll see in the atrium a bunch of leaves eventually here. At the end of this week and next week, and leaf lights from California. So we're in good shape on interiors, good shape on everything. And then we're also installing monumental glass that's coming next week. We'll start seeing glass go up on the monumental stairs. And then just to give everybody an idea where we're at, workers and how workers will work on a project. We're up to over 90,000 workers on the project. And that's actually just through March, so it does not include them. We've had 1 worker go on the project. It's all awesome. How's that focus? We had bought out the project for $3,099 spot last situation on that back process. We are for all intents and purposes totally bought out the project. The contract participation goals were obviously blow away the total of 3, which was a goal. 22% of the MD, 18% goal, 9% of the MD, 7% goal, 13%. On workforce, so the last time we struggled with workforce trying to get our numbers. Tracking the county, tracking the city was more focused on last time. And since that time, meetings with all of our trade partners, had weekly head counts, seeing what we have on the site for people. If you went out there today, you'd see more like 25 to 30 on average, around 7%. Those numbers, 60 to 70 right now, before the last time we went, 3 points. Averaging about $10,000 a month, expecting to see close out the jobs. You want that trajectory, they can get it out.
What do you see as the biggest, what's been the biggest challenge there? Is it
competition from other projects in the region? Is it just the contractors needing to get kicked in the rear end or?
It's always been, there's a big demand on a lot of projects in town. Yeah, there are. And when you think about it, you don't hire one contractor, one steel company. He really works with people he has his payroll. So if there are a lot of minorities, in fact, that's someone else's payroll, I can't. So then you have to go to the batch. So it's who you work with and how you drive it. Can you get the numbers on trade by trade basis? We can find more out of the ones. But there is, it's challenging, right? Their spreadsheet shows breakdown. Yes. We look at that last. We look at the numbers. We can contract with them. And that's just easy math, right? Hundreds. Or contract with some majority. Subcontract. You just look at who we contract to. Still. So all the others, all the type of trade. That's how much does any versus welding versus. You know, the next contract, that's where it's gonna go.
For example, elevators, escalators.
That's
But
pretty normal.
drywall trades,
We can share. We have a trade, we have a trade. For business. It's good news.
John,
The previous slide said we were at 90,000 man hours through March 31st, 2023. Should that be 2024? Oh, okay. So I'm like, that's a whole year. We've got a lot of hours missing here.
We have a lot.
Yeah, okay.
That's there. Questions on that?
question,
It's a good story. A lot of people are on our time. So some of the photos of some of the stuff that was just discussing. So the second picture in that's the animal talking about. So that whole thing opens up to the next side. So, just photo of the third floor, like I said.
but, there's a question. So you don't have an event out there. You don't have an event out there. See what
So we will have a tent. We were able to get the permit from the city just this, last week or so. Yeah. Okay, thank you. So there will be a tent up for 180 days, not 181.
so you're gonna leave the tent
It,
up all year.
it stays up, and until the following week, then it comes down. And the tent is only a canopy, there are no sides on it. It's big, and because of other I'm trying to say this, Ellis, other issues that we didn't want to get into with permitting, nor will there be heaters in it. So, enough said about that for now. Yes. They want a sprinkler system. So. Wasn't you? So anyway, we will have the tent, it'll be up until it's not, and then we'll store it and then we'll put it back up. It's big and it's going to cost a lot of money to put up and take. Right. It's big.
So what,
We're buying it, not.
Yes, we're buying it.
what did we
this is what we needed to do. I think that honestly, taking sides up and down based on the weather or a client's needs would have been extremely cumbersome and extremely expensive. And I don't think anyone would want to pay for that. And I think having the shade out there is what we. I don't think so.
First of all, this is. Right, so I like to see California. This is clean. Not think. You could apply for variance, not take grant. But. Case.
I'm looking over here now.
Becomes a permanent structure.
Yeah, but I'm in the game, I know the game, right? So.
The problem is it's not a zoning issue. It's a state law. We'll still have exit signs.
So the taking the tent down, putting the tent up every year, that's an expense that we will incur twice a year.
Once up, once down. We're working on a contract for that.
Keep that, what's that?
It is wind rated for
I don't know.
wind will be blowing, right? We do have, Mayor, we have a indoor option with the weather's.
Well, I'm saying. Thank you for community. I'm in the game, events.
But it is an outdoor patio, so if it was pouring rain, I mean, if it's all enclosed, you're indoors anyways,
I
right?
would go to the outside with them. Outside stuff.
Water. It's a cable. We have a favor of us. Balls on. We should have joints the paper down. But I mean, on the patch base, on the water, down, there's no cut. The papers out. It's just fall.
If there aren't events scheduled, is there any planned activities up there?
Not at this time, but we could.
So you got the tent, what's underneath? Nothing, tell us there's a tent, right?
Correct. But we will have some, semi-permanent furniture up there.
Seating outside.
Yes, yes,
Outside, but I like to sit outside.
right, yes, yes,
Right.
yes. We have, taller tables.
So let me ask you, so I want, good if it has renderings of that outside, but we've seen.
Okay.
So, folks see, all the game looks.
We can provide those, we can link back to, Commerce Commission. So we have.
Is there a permanent bar or anything out there?
Not permanent.
So, so this is the same slide that we've been showing you. We started off with you said, 3, 2, 5, 4, 9, 2, I'll explain that in a minute. So we, the page earning $4 million. Those are costs. And our only cost we had 7.6 million. 2.84 million. 8.85 million. That results in 2.79. There was an initial project cost spent before we brought to 40. We currently had interest rate of $1 billion. Showing interest, we can still claim from the trustee. That results in a total value of $50 million. Take these numbers down here,
correct, and this number goes back. to start. So first of it is 2,000 that we returned. That was insurance claim money, we got 100%. Board meetings. There's $174,000 structure. That was money that was committed and paid by the society to CCCFDC. So that's not coming from the trustee funds. There's $222,340 from Levy that was contributed to CCFDC now at expense funds. So we're using that for community improvements. And then lastly, we use the interest. So we're trying to capitalize on all of these outside sources to incorporate all these data, such as the tenant, et cetera, being able to build Superman time, at least the foundation for Superman, and time for ASAPs. We'll have a plaza out there that's ready to go once the Superman's day arrive. Quick update on that. We just finished our last commission meeting. Been to County Finance Commission. They have one final form on May 3rd. But they've been very positive in response. It's not to be a problem. Been through design review committee of the city, plan commission of the city, and yesterday for the Landmarks Commission, they've all approved unanimously. There were some conditions about connectivity of colors that starts, but all in all, it's been approved. That from sure. Next slide. So on the contingency side of things, we had GMP contingency of 1.6 million, of which we used 1.4 million. So Turner has about 270,000 left to spend. That's their contingency. On our contingency side, we started off with 2 million hard costs and 1.6 million soft costs. We spent 3.3, so we have 568 left. So that means a total of 830,000. We're tracking the Turner very closely to see what kind of contingency go back. I don't know how much we're going to get back. It's their money to use, but we're tracking it on a weekly basis now. But the goal here is to use as much of the money as possible, as much as possible, which is why I want to find out.
Is there, is there things that you or ASM have looked at right now for that, particularly the 568, that you would like to see as part of that?
Yeah, we're
talk about
actually
those.
right on the threshold of about $2,000 for that carpet, which means the entire atrium carpeting. That's one. The tent is about $67,000. That there's a lot of furniture. About four. It's about $500,000 furniture. Paid half already, so now it's about $50,000. So we're going to use it up pretty fast here, but we're going to be careful about how.
Interior or exterior, outside or inside or both?
Both.
Oh,
Some furniture, you know, outside, I'll go back there. I go back there because that's actually gonna drive you some business, right? Superman is great, that's gonna be nice. That's actually gonna drive you some business.
We can send out the furniture.
Sunshine, outdoors, air. Elevation.
Yeah,
Get out the
great
stuff
views
room.
from that space.
Right. Bar, yes, what's that? Yeah. I'm waiting to talk.
Yeah.
How much? I'm not going to speak for the guy. They underestimated how much we touched. I don't think we missed this. there's still a way to go into our dates.
So, we got 568 left on contingency. Total 840 roughly. I think that it. So we got all earmarked.
There's still a few consultants in the budget. that all have that. That's. It's that.
Make sure. that who's doing the design layout? What's the
It
section?
was done in collaboration. And, so the rendering.
Yeah, you got interior design on? That's space.
If you did and I missed it, I apologize, but describe what the floor is out on the,
Right.
out on the deck.
It's 2x2 concrete pavers that have a sealer on them, it's double coated so that somebody spills one, right, stain. And they have open joints, actually, on pedestals. The water lands on it, and just seeps through the joints.
See, cause I can see Tim go up there in his tent, right? You gotta have a little breakout place. You need to go to.
Right.
I understand. That's his tent.
Yeah, right. If, you know, if it's a nice day, you're gonna go up there,
Right,
you're not
you got
gonna
all
want
this
to be under.
room around, right. That's what I had seen. So,
We'll get to the.
I think everybody here should take a look at it.
How much?
2/3.
So under the tent, it's about 400, but if you do, so since it's 10,000 square feet, if you're doing it as a reception, you can have almost 1,000 people. But that's not gonna, our fire code will allow.
The code allows to have stuff.
That's a big number, it's a big space,
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah.
So,
it's a big space.
I would say, look, talk about this on purpose. Plan it. It's everything that makes it outdoor.
Aesthetic.
Well, outdoor living space, right? That's what's gonna drive people to come back and say, hey, it's nothing like that now.
Mayor, we got one shot right at this.
This is it.
If I can maybe suggest, maybe we add this as a topic for our next subcommittee, maybe just have, because we're not meeting again until I think August, right? So. Yeah.
It'll be done.
Yeah.
It'll be too late. So I would say this. So you send out that rendering to everybody first, right? We have to pull together special. Because all of us have gone to events. Then I start really thinking about, start talking about a wedding. Not be sterile. I don't want to get lost in the fact that you got a kid. Got jealous. Got music up there?
Not permanently.
Yeah, you've got the power.
We can talk about some of the self-help. You got.
No, yeah, I got it, we tell it online, but I'm saying, we get together quarterly. This, I just say what happens.
Yeah.
This last slide really just kind of, these are the options.
Have the tree pits on St. Clair been built?
Not yet.
Okay,
We have
there,
approved
thank you.
pre-existing plans.
Okay. I've emailed Bonnie like 18 times. Someone's gonna die.
Any questions for Ellis and the team? I would say that, all right, let's go to, violence.
Mark, can you do the balance?
But,
Introduce yourself.
our technician operation, but kind of, spearheaded all of project. Brief update, as you all know, we reported that $4,000 grant. Branch, because of that, we're going county's current process. Portion dollars, $4,000. All of them, we chunk them, so we're currently going through that. We went out for bid the first time, I think in January, I had that exact date. Due to county current rules, they needed one qualified bid. They only received one, they had issues. We went back out bid, and then second bid yesterday was successful. Bids are due back to the county, May 15th. That one should be a contract. Because we knew we were not going to purchase all of Collins, that $4,000 price, project A, project B, big long, steady fashion. 7 of the balls, we could coordinating with Turner on in their construction scope. Those actually be installed in the next project. So you'll see those installed.
These are permanent bollards or removed?
Yeah, so there's 7 going in the current construction site, and those were 2 are the vehicle access way. Those are not crash rated. Quite often, there's a crash rated baller on the same side. Or window cleaning things. So, okay. We are on, currently, if everything goes to plan, the process, we are on schedule. Right around front of Lakeside, probably mid to late August, right after the SAE. Have some basic completion documents. Need to do this. There might be some artistic components that might lag in 2025. Meat potatoes in this project.
Are we monitoring? On target?
Correct. We put very specific lead time goals in that RFP. They had to get contract, we're still within that time frame. We're close, flying up to it. But we're still trending towards delivering all of the August.
The ones that are gonna go to the next, those on Sinclair or
Surrounding people.
okay, move on. I don't know that I've seen the rendering on Lakeside. Initially, this was expensive to have to go through the burden. But thanks to the Cleveland Planning Commission, actually gave a beautiful addition to the facility.
Correct.
That would be on
No.
the other side of just.
There really isn't a purchase. They'll have a nice stainless steel condition.
will the installation between 8:15 and 9:1 impede any of the events that we have scheduled or even the wedding that's scheduled?
Not.
Okay.
We will never, contract. We working with them, probably shut down Lakeside half of it at a time. I would say. On the demo page, we might have some noise issues. Same thing. But that'll be. So I can't say there's gonna be 100% no impact for operation, but it's. So I did finish this, it's been a long time. Very, very.
Thanks, Mark.
Let's go to, signage with Debbie Berry and Ron King.
Ron King, you want to give us an update?
So, Huntington has received approval from all the appropriate city, commissions. Also, they have applied for their construction permit to do the signage that is on the building. We have to provide an access hatch at some point for them to get up to install it. There is a second part of this, and it was done intentionally, which is the, I'm going to call it the marquee sign, the digital sign that sits out on St. Clair, that is replacing the existing sign that's out there. The reason that's separate, that actually sits on top of the roof of our exhibit hall, so there has to be a foundation that's engineered, and that's taking a little more time. We didn't want one to hold up the other, so we're moving forward with the signage on the building, and then that marquee will come at a later date.
And that's what took a little bit of time, is we just were negotiating with Huntington. I think we both wanted to see that sign become digital, but it benefits both the convention center and Huntington's advertising. But it was a higher cost, obviously. So kind of we're working through those details, but it's pretty cheap with that. It's huge.
The project should complete, not the digital sign, but the signage on the building should be complete by the end of July.
But all we're talking about here is the outside sign.
Correct.
The inside sign is part of the construction.
Correct, that's correct.
The digital signage, Huntington's, hopefully going to maintain that and prepare it if need be.
Huntington is giving a maintenance fee to the CCCFDC.
Oh, okay.
Thanks, Debbie.
All right, we'll go to, Larry and the Hilton Hotel update.
Thanks. Good morning. Julie, not sure if you've got the slides there in front. But briefly overview, coming through Q1, national lodging trends are sluggish. RevPAR industry-wide is essentially flat with 2023, up 0.2 of a point. It's all coming through rate increases, rates up a few bucks. Occupancy or demand is actually down by 1.2 points. The outlook is expected to get better for the balance of the year. Most of the industry forecasts are still expecting RevPAR to be in the 3 to 4% range on a full year basis. One thing that's helping that is supply growth is still expected to be under 1%. So demand is a little sluggish here, rates continuing to grow, but supply growth is minimalized as well. When we look at the Cleveland market overall compared to other markets, Cleveland is doing pretty well. Above the regional averages, again, this is through March data here, up 1.9%. I will tell you, when we look at April data and for Q2 with NCAA Women's Final Four and the Eclipse activity, this number is going to skyrocket. April numbers have been so far very strong for both downtown and for the city. When we look at the downtown hotels, again, this is through March, RevPAR is up about 18% compared to last year. So again, national averages basically level. Cleveland downtown at about 18%. That increase is coming through primarily increased occupancy, both group and transient. And then when we look at travel trends, we saw these headlines, but business is definitely getting busier. out at the airport, above the 2019 levels and a strong March there. As I mentioned, the citywide activities here in April were fantastic, both for the women's Final Four, the Eclipse as well. As Ron mentioned on a couple of his slides, starting to see further out future year booking activity, which I think is directly related to the improvements being made at the convention center. I've always historically said it's a two plus year lead period. Starting to see leads 3, 4, 5, 6 years out, which is great to see. And then looking at downtown, several hotels, renovation planning, repositionings in varying phases downtown. Still some rumblings for some new hotel supply, but nothing definitive as of yet. Any questions?
Hey, Larry, it's Tim. Do you have a sense of why on a national basis, RevPAR and average daily rate for hotel rooms is trailing inflation by 1 to 2%? That's interesting.
Yeah, it's been that way for a while, Tim. Everyone excited when RevPAR nominally exceeded 2019 levels back, say, in Q4 of 2022. But even if you look at an inflation adjusted basis, ADR and RevPAR are still not back to 2019 levels. It is still very much market by market. You certainly saw Florida and other areas take off early on out of the recovery. It is coming back to the urban markets, secondary markets. I do think you're starting to see, with just other options out there, and I'm starting to see a little bit of price resistance. It's funny, we were talking at a recent owners meeting, and it's talking about, it's almost cheaper to go to Europe at this point than is some destinations in the US. So there could just be a sense of just, pushing up. The rates have kind of pushed up quite a bit, but starting to see a little bit of price resistance.
Okay, thanks.
Any questions, Larry? All right, we will go to old business.
No.
Old business. New business. The next quarterly meeting is July 26th, 8:30, which is also the grand ribbon cutting and the grand opening of the new space. So we will start here at 8:30. I believe the event starts at 11. Correct.
11 to 1.
11 to 1, correct. So we should be able to transition out of here into the,
You don't have to stay.
because you're expecting how many people? Well,
Send out
send out 500.
500. About 500, yeah.
We're doing RGBs.
Right now, we've just done the save the days.
Day to day, okay. So you have a better idea soon,
Mhm,
how many people be coming.
mhm.
Okay.
We'll be back in board.
Yeah, our next meeting will be back in the boardroom,
Additional board.
yes, which some of you probably haven't ever seen. We'll make sure we get you there.
We're excited about showing off our facilities. Anybody that is on the way for these invitations, let us know.
Did it stay intact, right?
Yes, it wasn't touched. We'll need to dust and clean it, but other than that.
All right, so, 26, before I adjourn, I do want to say that there are project tours, after this, if you want to stay around and see the new space looks like, big group will walk folks around.
It's very exciting.
And, Dave Gill, who couldn't be here today, had informed me, a minute called me yesterday to let me know that he wasn't coming, but I know there's a committee working with Dave. I'm gonna ask for, to go into an executive session. Just to discuss, let Trevor give a quick update about, some committee work that's going on here, so everyone knows kind of what's going on here, so. I'll ask for, a motion to go into executive session for matters pertaining to the organizational structure.
Personnel.
Personnel.
HMA.
Yes. There you
Is that
go.
all right?
Thank you.
You okay with
I
that?
couldn't get it out.
Make sure McGee's okay with
So-
that before we do anything.
If you wanna make,
Sure, I moved to go into executive session for purposes of personnel and just for clarity of the record, because the executive session is not listed on the agenda. We can do that because this is a regular meeting of the
Right.
CCCFDC, so we can amend the agenda and add items on the agenda.
Here a second?
Second,
All right, all in favor?
I,
No, got a roll call. Roll call. Roll call.
Thank you,
Debbie
Mr.
Berry?
Director.
yes.
Jeff Epstein?
Yes.
Najee McLou?
Yes.
Trevor McAleer?
Yes.
Michael Obi?
Yes.
Tim Aftermath?
Yes.
Rashonda Smith?
Yes.
Mayor Sellers?
Yes. All right, we're in executive session. Those who are not on the board, I will ask you to excuse yourself and.
Opportunities, validate ideas. Accelerators often are very good at helping with staffing.
Now that we're in the open meeting, move to adjourn the.
All right, so we'll probably move and second it. We are resuming the original meeting from the CCCFDC. I will now ask for a motion to adjourn
So moved.
the meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? This meeting stands adjourned. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Julie.
Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you.
Thanks, Julie. Thanks, George.
Thank you guys for the update.
Yeah.